Hi,
Hi, how's it going? I'm Sara Ines Calderon,
and I'm Adriana Maestas.
and this is our Latino Politics Roundup,
But
the immigration edition.
for immigration happenings this week.
Yeah, I mean, if you have been paying attention, immigration reform was a huge deal in 2012. And in 2013 is when we're supposedly going to start to see some movement on that legislation, on that issue. And so we wanted to do like a special immigration edition this week.
Exactly.
Yeah, so just real quick, don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Please watch this video, leave us comments, share it on Facebook, and follow us on Twitter. I'm Sada Chikadi.
And I'm Latino Politics.
Yeah, so you want to tell us? I mean, there was some
Okay.
pretty significant immigration stuff that happened
So this week, DHS made an announcement that there's a policy change that's going to reduce the time U.S. citizens are separated from immediate family members who are applying for permanent residency. So basically what that means is a lot of times when an undocumented person or somebody's going through the process and they're trying to become permanent residents, they have to go back to their country of origin to apply for the visa or do this visa interview. A lot of times when they would have to go back, they would end up being separated from their family because there are these rules in place that like bar them from reentry into the country. So now this new rule, which is going to go into effect on March 4th of this year, just in about 8 weeks or a little less than 8 weeks, people will have to apply for a waiver that will mean that they will not be separated for as long. So that is something that is sort of an administrative tweak that the Obama administration has made to alleviate things that are going on in the broken immigration system.
And that is basically going to have positive effects for people who have families and jobs and things like that.
Exactly, because there have been a lot of stuff in the media, and we've seen this reported, and maybe even people know about situations with either your own family and friends where somebody has been separated or they're afraid to go back and apply for that visa because then they might not be able to come into the country for years and years. You know, like they're barred from reentry.
That's really interesting.
Yeah, so that happened, and also just as another example of the administration willing to be a little bit more flexible in terms of the immigration rules, and that kind of goes in line with what we saw last year in June when we had the Deferred Action Program announcement, which was something that activists had been pushing the administration to do. Yeah,
for a long time. Yeah.
So sometimes, you know, when things can't get done through Congress, the agencies have to be a little more flexible or think a little bit more creatively about how they're going to accommodate people.
Yeah, which is really interesting how the Obama administration did that, and is also kind of, going around saying that they're going to do immigration reform. And I mean, I think that that's something that Obama campaigned on in 2007, 2008. He said he was going to do immigration reform. It didn't happen, obviously. I mean, we all know that. And then he was on Meet the Press recently and went on saying about immigration reform. The exact quote was, "Fixing our broken immigration is a top priority. I will introduce legislation in the first year to get that done." And he also said, administration officials have said that Obama is set to begin an all-out drive for comprehensive immigration reform, including a path to citizenship. So, I mean, that sounds really good, but not sure it's like reasonable. Given even, the debt ceiling and the fiscal cliff stuff is just kind of this, Sisyphean task almost just to get like normal, like, run-of-the-mill kind of legislation passed. I'm not sure we're going to be able to do a complete overhaul of this very like controversial, legislation.
Well, and that's what a lot of people have said too, is like there's been a lot of talk about it. I mean, now it's sort of we're at the point where it's like, okay, stop talking about it. Let's,
do it.
Put up and let's see what happens.
Yeah.
So we definitely are at that point. I think that the immigration debate, I mean, it's obviously going to continue, and I don't think it's going to be moved from the policy agenda. I think it's going to be interesting to see how it evolves, and if we can't get a CIR type package, what alternatives there might be.
Definitely. I think that is kind of. I think that's where the good stuff is going to happen, and where the alternative situations are going to be able to jump in and take place of CIR.
Exactly. So, I mean, it might be that there are more administrative rule changes, or
Probably going to see more of those, I'm thinking, but
yeah.
that's definitely stuff we're going to be working on, so be on the lookout at Politic 365.
And definitely, if you have any ideas about immigration reform or any tips or know of any experts who want to chime in,
Yeah.
we would love to talk to you.
We'd love to talk to you. Tweet us. I'm Sara Chica D.
I'm Latino Politics.
Yeah, so we definitely want to talk to you about that. So part of this whole really interesting change when we're talking about immigration reform is the perhaps the most vocal congressman on immigration reform, who's been arrested multiple times for the cause, is Luis Gutierrez out of Chicago, Puerto Rican. But I was talking to somebody this week from Chicago, was saying that, oh, he's kind of dirty. He has I mean, I don't know about any of that, but I think that, his efforts on immigration reform are really admirable, even though, we've talked about how sometimes he's termed like a one-trick pony because really, like, immigration, like, that's his shtick, But in that same vein, he's putting up. He's walking the walk. He's not just talking the talk, because he's stepping out of the Financial Services Committee, where he was the third ranking Democrat on that committee, and he's changing to the Judiciary Committee, which he's going to be the 13th ranking Democrat, in order to work specifically on immigration reform. So, you kind of have to give him props for that.
Yeah, he gave up seniority.
He's giving up some serious seniority in order to work on this issue. So, whether, I don't know what people say. People say lots of different things about him, but you kind of have to look at that as being like some sort of tangible step towards, getting it done. So we'll see how, that in conjunction with, the dreamers, the activists, everyone's going to have to keep pushing this year if we're going to see either CIR or more administrative rule changes. I mean, it's not just going to happen. So we're all going to have to be involved. So
yeah, I think that definitely that's something that we're all want to stay focused on. And I just sort of urge activists to think creatively.
Yes.
Because I think that's where we might really see something happen, is if there are some things that might happen that maybe haven't really been offered before.
Yeah.
Because a lot of the talk right now about, we're going to see CIR, we're going to see comprehensive immigration reform, a lot of the talking points are still the same. So for me, that's a little, it kind of makes me pause and just wonder, because I think we've seen a lot of these same ideas being floated for years, and they just have never really come to fruition.
Definitely. So, again, if you or somebody you know, or you have suggestions for us on who wants to be on our show, we want to start interviewing people. So feel free to let us know.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.